And welcome to the Modern Mompreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dai Smith, fellow mompreneur, owner of Simplicity by Day. And I'm always trying to bring really exciting guests on the podcast. So today we have Kayleigh Kennedy out of Ontario. I'm not even going to try to say the city, but Ontario, Canada. She told me, and I was like, no. So she can tell you what it is. But this is my buddy. I met Kayleigh this past year, 6 months ago or so, in a mindset and sales mastermind that I have fallen in love with. She's one of the leaders, and she's been just helping me and the rest of us really grasp our hidden potential and imagining ourselves as who we would desire to be. And it's been amazing. And so Kayleigh is a fellow mompreneur. She's a mom of young kids. So we immediately vibed. It was like, oh, this is my people. And so welcome, Kayleigh, to the Modern Mompreneur podcast.
Thank you, Dai. I'm so excited to be here.
So excited to have you. And I'll let you share more about, who you are, who you serve. So share with the community those two things so we can know you a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. So this is actually really exciting. Well, the time that we're recording this podcast, I had been a leader in Dai's where she's being mentored, and I actually just made a decision to go out on my own and start my own mindset coaching and consulting business. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm launching a mindset program and mastermind for entrepreneurs. So at any stage of their journey, but people who know that it's themselves that are getting in their own way. Pardon me. So, which is, we might not always be aware of it, but we are our only blocks. So to get out of our own way and to really connect with the person that we want to be and connect with our unlimited potential or limitless potential. My coaching is actually called Limitless coaching. So we'll go with limitless potential, and to really just tap into that. And, I love, I have worked with a lot of moms. I'm not just specifically working with moms, but I do love working with mompreneurs because there is nothing more unstoppable than an ambitious mom who has big goals and big vision for her business and her family. And so I absolutely love supporting people in that space. But I think there's a lot of inner work that all of us entrepreneurs need to do in order to get to those next levels. And I've been doing that work, just like Dai said, and that's one of the reasons why my vision for where I was going has shifted, because I just saw something new for me. And yeah, I'm really excited to get that going.
Love it. So you heard it here. Limitless potential. It's gonna happen. That's the name, right? Limitless potential.
Limitless coaching. So I have Limitless coaching from Kayleigh Kennedy Consulting, and I have a Limitless business mastermind that's going to be launching in March, and the Limitless belief mindset program as well to go.
Love it. I love it. I really do, because the thing that stood out to me is you said we get in our own way. My goodness. And we put limits on ourselves. I remember when I started my business, I said I couldn't do it. I told myself I couldn't. I was like, oh no, I got a job, I got kids, they're little, I got a husband, I got mortgage. And then what triggered in my mind is I say this at the end of the podcast, I gave myself permission. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try. And all it was me getting out of the way of blocking myself from going forward. That is so huge for not only entrepreneurs, but mompreneurs, because we put so many things in front. We put our responsibilities, which is good, and we need those, but we put it in front of our potential, really. And so I love that you're really pinpointing that and helping us to unlock that and realize, be aware of it. Like you say, some people aren't aware that it is just you, honey.
Yep. I love what you said about giving ourselves permission, because I think as moms, we forget that we can give ourselves permission to go after big things. One of the things I harp on a lot is not using your why as an excuse. And I find a lot of moms tend to use their why as their kids, they're, to do that, but they use that why as the reason why they can't go all in on their business. And when you learn how to tap into that limitless side of you, you actually learn how to work smarter and not harder. Like I achieved more last year with, and we'll get into all of the things that I've gone through with my children. I eh, working less, but working in a certain way because I was learning to tap into that limitless side of myself.
Yeah,
But we need to give ourselves permission, first off, to dream. And to dream, it's not just dreaming for us, it's dreaming for our family and what we can do for them. And for me, one of the biggest driving forces for everything that I do is showing my kids that they can achieve anything that they set their mind to too. And I can tell them that, but showing them that by doing it myself is so much more powerful. And I already know that they're going to, whatever it is that they set their mind to, they're going to do it because they see me doing that every single day.
that is so important. We often tell kids, you can be anything you want to be, you can do anything you want to do, but we don't live that life. We stay in a career or in a job or whatever, a lifestyle that we hate, that doesn't bring us joy, and they see everything. No matter what you're trying to do, the kids learn through your behavior, they learn through what they see you doing, and they mimic it, or they avoid it at all costs. It goes one or the other way. But we talk about that on the podcast. A lot of guests have said that they felt like they want to show their kids that their dreams can be fulfilled based on how they're living their lives, and they're going
Yeah.
to look up to us and be proud of us for doing that once they get, oh, like, wow, my mom, she was a badass, trying to do
Yeah.
that thing out there. So I love it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so in this role as a coach, you mentioned folks who are wanting to get out of their way. They need to get out of their way. They need to, step into something new. That sounds foreign and scary to a lot of people because I'm like, what are you talking about? How do you how do you communicate to someone who's not familiar with that? I get it because I'm in this mindset world, but a lot of listeners are like, what are you talking about? How do you communicate that? How can they, make a connection between what you're saying and like being bold enough to even look that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm working on that myself. But I think, I almost say, so mindset coaching, like if someone has no idea what mindset coaching is, I kind of like call it like mindset coaching for dummies is, do you know that you have behaviors that are self-sabotaging? So do you know that there's something that you're doing that isn't supporting you with the life that you want to live? And I use health and nutrition all the time as an example because so many people can relate to they set that goal of getting healthy, going to the gym, and then life happens, they fall off and they don't get back on that wagon. So that's a self-sabotaging behavior. That's a way that we're getting in our own way of achieving the things that we want to do. And there's a reason why we're doing that. And that's because of the ideas that we hold in our subconscious mind. So this is where I'm getting a little bit deeper, but really it's just asking someone the question, is there something that that you should be doing in order to achieve your goals that you're not doing? And I'm going to help you close that gap. And it's all through the ideas and the beliefs that you hold in your subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is what's controlling your movement.
Yeah.
I guess that's the simplest way, but I'm still trying to find like a way to say it that's really sexy.
And you broke it down to health and nutrition because it's like habits that you have, right?
Yeah.
And then the beliefs. The reason why you have habits that way is because of what you believe about something, that
Yeah.
this is, and that's something that no one teaches. You don't learn that in school. You probably don't get that from your parents because, they're not able to give that information to you. So that's really powerful that you're focusing on that because even when it comes to health and fitness, right? A lot of times we'll pick up some habit and it's we're doing good and it's temporary and people get frustrated that they cannot keep that habit, like, oh, I was doing so well, why did I fall off from doing this? Even when it comes to productivity, you're like, oh, I was doing so well with my organization and now life is life and I have clutter everywhere. I think what you're doing is the way to make it sustained,
Yeah.
to make it really stick. So now it becomes a part of your life because it's what you believe, right? Like you believe that putting a seatbelt on is important for your safety. So every time you get in the car, you put that seatbelt on. You don't just ride around like sometimes it's on, sometimes
Absolutely.
it's not. It is just what it is. And so if you can create those type of habits in your life for business, for the way you show for your family, for how you take care of yourself, just think about the potential. Like you say, like it's endless. You can do
Yeah.
that for every aspect of life and thrive, just live your best life.
Yeah. Well, and it's even the stories like, so going back to the fitness, the
Mhm.
fitness example, people are trying to get fit because they hate their body. What if you change that story of you're trying to get fit because you love your body and you love yourself, so you want to and you have the desire to move your body and nourish it. And there's a different energy to both of those sides. So it's changing the energy behind even why you want to do something. And that comes from your beliefs that you hold about yourself and the perception that you hold about yourself. So a lot of the work that I'm going to be doing with my clients is self-image work. It's changing the way that you see yourself. um, in a business sense, a lot of people limit themselves because deep down they have worthiness issues. They don't feel that they're worthy of achieving their goals. So we get to the root cause of why that is, so that you can change the story that you're telling yourself. Because when
Yeah.
that story changes, like if you think about, I'll go back to the fitness thing. This is just the easiest example. You probably know those people who go on vacation and they still work out every day. That's because right? But that's their self-image. That's their self-image. So they've built that into their core. So they are the people who, I no matter what, I exercise X amount of times because they love it. But
Yeah.
they might not have always been that way. At
Yeah.
one point, they likely had to will themselves to do it, and changing those stories. So that's a great example of even just as a mom, how you show up as a mom, and you can change the stories of how you're showing up as a mom and being more present, and all of the things. Same thing with business. Like, why do you have big goals? You can change those stories. A lot of the stories that I've heard are, people, they want to earn more money because they came from a place where they didn't have a lot. So they're coming from a place of lack, but you can change that story. But it's in those getting to the root cause of why things are the way they are that's the most important. Otherwise it's not a permanent shift. Just like you said, like it's you want the change in habit to be sustainable. Otherwise it's like that yo-yo diet or whatever, right?
And it's exhausting to do back and forth, back and forth. And one thing that we've learned in our mindset work is that, when you commit to something like that and you move in a way to you showing yourself and the universe, God, that you're moving in that way, it's like it gets easier. Like right now, those people who are working out and on vacation, it's not hard anymore. It's nothing. You're like, oh, we're going to brunch at 10. Okay, I'm gonna get up at 8 to go work out. Or
Yep.
it's just nothing. It's not like a thing that you even think about or it's hard anymore. But you do have to will yourself, like you said, it does take time, which is why I think you may need coaching.
100%. 100%. We don't hold ourselves accountable to ourselves. Like, it's crazy. I have a coach. I'll
Yeah,
always have someone.
like
Yeah.
I joke with my husband about fitness because I'm like, if I'm not at a gym where someone is like, I gotta have someone tell me what to do, I'm not working out. And it's true. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I need to change my belief around that, but I believe that I need a class to be fit. Because if you leave it up to me, it ain't happening. I'm not doing it. But
Yeah.
that's just me. So
No,
like,
I'm with you. I went to my Pilates class this morning. That's my Friday morning. I go to Pilates. It's in my schedule every week.
yes, I just got to pay for this gym membership because I ain't gonna do it otherwise. Even though I can literally go on YouTube for free and work out, I'm not doing it. So
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
love it, love it. So this is great. So if you see yourself, attracted to any of this, just know you're hearing from the best of the best. Kayleigh was trained by the best of the best, who was trained by the best of the best. We ain't got a name drop, but Conway, Proctor Gallagher, those are people who really understand this work. And Kayleigh is someone who's learned from that. house and is now taking it a step further to really tackle on, I think, a granular level. It's like, okay, this is what we're struggling with. This is where it comes from. Let me help walk you through that. And people who are, I can see moms, I can see people who are going through life changes, folks who just have never given themselves permission to do something. And now they're like, why not? This is my year.
Mhm.
And luckily, thankfully, Kayleigh has opened up this new business to where she can reach you and relate to you as a woman, as a mom, and you will get some really great coaching and guidance from her. So if any of this is attractive, I implore you to stay connected to Kayleigh. We'll show you how to do that later in the podcast. So
Awesome. Thanks, Dai.
limitless coaching. We got courses, we got coaching, we got who knows what's coming next.
Oh,
Retreat,
it's gonna be big.
all the
It's gonna
things. It's gonna be amazing. I'm like, girl, I may need to get with you because I need some of this work, belief, self-image work over here. Okay. Um, so we're gonna transition to talk more about your family and how, as a mom, your journey into building a business and raising a family. I know you have a very unique story, but share with us, how has life been as a mompreneur, achieving your goals and raising a family?
Ooh, where to start? So I'll start at the beginning. My
Okay.
so my son just turned 4 on Halloween. He has a Halloween birthday, which I'm pretty sure I manifested, by the way, because he was 3 weeks early. Um, and a couple months before I had him, I actually invested in my first mindset coach because I knew I didn't want to go back to my corporate job after my maternity leave. Like that, I knew that. And I also knew that I was the only person standing in my way. So very much like, the people that I'm hoping to speak to in the work that I do. And I ended up manifesting that, being able to stay home. I actually had a previous coach who ended up inviting me to be on her sales team, and it did not go well. That's where I found Conway Consulting, help me with my sales. And that was 2.5 years ago. I actually started on that journey when I was pregnant with my daughter. And I had gone into a really dark space where I didn't know what I was going to do because I had been failing as an entrepreneur, and I was pregnant. So who's going to hire someone who's about to, have a baby? So it was, there was a lot of challenges, but I really, when I started working with the previous company that Day and I are connected through, um, I really started to build that self image of the woman and the mother that I wanted to be. Now, the past 2 years have been incredibly challenging. So I started at this company right before my daughter was born. My daughter was born. She's turning 2 this month. So it's February 2024. She's gonna be 2 in 2 weeks, which is amazing. And 6 months later, my son was diagnosed with cancer. So my second year in entrepreneurship was not as I had expected it to go. I actually it's so I do a lot of work like vision work and the power word. Day and I are both familiar with creating your power word for your year, and my power word for 2022 was impact, and I just started at this company. And what I realized after my son was diagnosed, that all of the work that I'd been doing in mindset, it wasn't for me to make an impact, it was preparing me for impact. When my son was diagnosed, because of the inner work that I'd done, I had the tools to be able to get through this very, very challenging time that we're still going through. My son still, he's still has 9 months left of chemotherapy before he's going to ring that bell, but he's doing fantastic and he is in remission. But so my entrepreneur journey has been interesting because I haven't had a year where it's been easy with anything. Um, there've been a lot of challenges, a lot of uh, big challenges with my family and navigating running a business while supporting my family, supporting my son, taking time that I need to take time and still go after and achieve my goals. It's not easy. And it really takes that commitment and that discipline to the goal and to the life that I'm building for my family. So I said at the beginning, like, don't let your why become your excuse. It would have been really easy for me to let my why become my excuse, but I just kept that vision of all of the beautiful things that we're going to do, that the experiences we're going to have, and I never lost sight of those visions when my son got sick. And I one of my favorite visualizations I go into often is a beach house that I'm manifesting. And I know exactly where it is. It's on Lake Huron in Ontario. And I see myself sipping a coffee while I watch my kids build sandcastles in the sand. And they're a little bit older. It's a little bit down the road, this vision. And I held that vision the entire time that my son was going at the beginning stages of his treatment, seeing him thriving, seeing him, years down the road playing with his sister, and really using all of the mindset tools to deal with all of the things that we were dealing with, using positive affirmations and prayer with my son. And since the beginning, focusing on gratitude, all of the things that the tools that I use in my business for my business goals, I also use them for my family's health goals. And we had so with his diagnosis, the first 2 months are incredibly intense treatment. And then he had a bone marrow and a lumbar puncture test to check, to see where the cancer was at. And he had a higher risk diagnosis. And when we went in, so that was November of 2022. Yeah, November of 2022. Um, our oncologist said they had never seen anyone with his diagnosis go into such deep remission so quickly. And I attest it to, doing what we were doing with the hospital, but also using the mindset tools, the visualization, the affirmation, the gratitude, the, still going after goals, setting goals as a family. I and some other alternative things that we added on. I see all of those combining. So he's still there've been lots of challenges with just him being on chemotherapy for the last 18 months, and growing a business, and all of life's curveballs. But it's really, for me, it's just focusing on those goals and bringing my family into it, which has gotten me through, and also created a bigger vision of myself and of the life that I'm building for my family. So my story is probably pretty unique, 'cause it's all the past 3 years ever since I decided to leave my corporate job and become an entrepreneur.
Man, the fact that you didn't give up, girl, that is your test. That is like you get a trophy of mom of the decade of the
I've
century for that.
had days where I've given up, just to let you know. There have been days where I'm like,
Well,
"Okay,
you
I
know,
can't do it
you
today,"
get a
but
few. You get
I
a
get
few.
up
That's
the
a
next
lot.
day.
The baby is sick. The baby is going through treatment, hardcore treatment. Chemo is nothing to play with. Adults struggle. Imagine your baby there, right? And
Yeah.
all the things that could be going on. Um,
And
two things.
having another baby, like,
Oh,
you know,
another little healthy. She's like, what is happening? The attention you have to kind of shift there, your marriage that you're managing, that you got to be a wife, and then building a business. And this business is, you're giving to others in a way that's different. It's not transactional. The way you are coaching us, the way you were coaching, it's not transactional. Like, it's really being present, showing up in a way, listening, pouring into people. It's almost like ministering, like you're like praying for other people in the midst of your life going crazy and having all this stuff. It's it reminds me of that. But the thing that stood out to me about your story, thank you for sharing, um, is that, as parents, we are responsible for raising our children. And it's not just providing food and clothing and shelter for them and making, education opportunities. You are also providing a spiritual, mental, emotional component in their upbringing, right? You are manifesting things for their future. You are showing them how, like they'll look back and say, we were going through this and this is what I've observed my mom to be doing. I don't know if they'll remember it, but they'll be able to know like, wow, like this is crazy that this was happening and my mom was still able to do this and that. My parents were still able to do these things. So you're giving your kids something that's going to help them for their spiritual, emotional, and mental well-being in the future. Like that piece of raising is so important. And also, had you given up, had you stopped the work on yourself, you wouldn't be bringing this new business into fruition. Like you needed that journey. You're going to be a even more impactful coach, business owner, mom with this new venture, this new chapter, and you needed that experience to get there. So I love that. Like it all works for the good. It all works for the good. That's what I believe. Even, you know, you being the one that has to raise a child, a sick baby who is going through chemo and like why you know, and it shows that you were the chosen one because of the work that you're doing, the purpose that you have, and how you were able to like he really did prepare you for this path, you know. So that those are just some things that I drew from your story and the fact that you're pressing forward and with hope, with joy, see it looks like with like purpose and still wanting to give to others. Like you can sit down. You've been through enough. You can sit down, girl. You good. But no, you're
Well,
like,
I
no,
have like my
I want to help.
vision of giving is even bigger now because I like the places that supported us so much at the beginning of the journey. So I now give back more
Oh,
than I ever have before, but also I have I realized so one of the events that that we had at Conway in the spring that I went to, I realized that this part of my journey is strengthening my purpose because now I just want to support other people who are going through what I've gone through um in a way and give back. So I actually ended up like I had this vision of really supporting some charities. And then I manifested being an ambassador for two of these charities where I actually go to events. They bring me in to share my story in front of groups of people. And one of the, you know, they've had our stories been published in different, you know, local newspapers with one of the charities. And they've asked me, you know, in the future, if would you be open to speaking at our galas? Like just getting up and speaking in front of people. And I actually remember being at this event and one of my clients saying to me, she's like, I bet you're going to speak at galas someday. And I was like, I accept that idea. I love that idea. I think that's a great idea. And then
yes.
like months later, this opportunity and it hasn't come yet, but it's you know, they're like, when we have a gala and we need a speaker, we're going to reach out to you.
Yeah.
So it's just different ways of supporting it and giving back. And you know, I see there's just a lot of opportunity to really make a difference, not just in the business side and helping other people, you know, get out of their own way, but helping make a difference in the children's cancer community because it's just, you know, it's had such an impact on my life and still going after the goals because now I see like I've started this movement. I call it Ethan's Warriors, and it's just to raise awareness about children's cancer and some of the organizations that have supported us. So I have in Canada like a blood drive, so people can give blood, and you know he's had I don't know up almost 20 blood transfusions in the past 18 months maybe. So I give blood every time I can. So every like 4 months I go and I have so I have a blood drive going and I have different things going and I see like the Ronald McDonald House that we stay at like we are going to have a room called Ethan's Warriors at that
Yes.
in that space. We're going to have a room at McMaster Children's Hospital in the oncology. Like so all of this vision is just it's so much bigger than just what I'm building as a professional and in my business. It's just to really support other people who are going through the challenges that we've gone through and grown through.
Absolutely. I love that. And it opens you up to be able to give more. Like that is so powerful. Thinking about who has helped you along the journey. Again, you were chosen for this because now they'll have a voice. They have someone who's survived, who is, you know, manifesting and they're seeing that I too can get through this. You know, you're speaking to the ones who are going through it now and building a community around that. So I love that. And they need you too, because they need to hear about how they're going to get through this when, if and when their kids need to go back to treatment, because that happens a lot too in the oncology space, right? It's not a one and done thing a lot of times. So just continuing to have that fortitude, I think mentally is going to help a lot of people get through this journey for themselves, their kids, the kids' siblings, all the people
Yeah.
involved. So I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
So, you know, you are navigating this as a business owner. You are showing up for your children. Um, what do you feel like have been some adjustments you've had to make in business? I know your story is extremely unique, but what have been some adjustments that you've had to make in building your business that were unexpected or you just had to navigate through?
Learning to ask for help, like, and ask for a lot of help,
Okay.
because it really does take a village. And I think, and I see this, I'm fortunate. I have had to release a lot of mom guilt, and it still comes up because even last year I traveled a lot for work, um, which I always wanted to do, but there was still like that guilt aspect. But releasing the mom guilt and being okay of asking people for help, like if you're a mompreneur, like lean on the resources that you have available for you for help. Like you don't have to do it all. Um, set up a plan with your spouse. Like, do you have family that like willingly will help out? Because I'm lucky that I do. My mother-in-law and my mom and my stepdad, they're here all of the time, like helping out, and they want to be. I know not everyone has that, but finding some sort of community or space that can give you that support, that's the biggest thing. I wouldn't If I didn't have the support that I have, I wouldn't be able to do what I was doing. Now, my husband also was off work when this happened. He was so we're in Canada, so I'm self-employed, so I did not get a maternity leave when my daughter was born. So he took I think he got 8 months or something like that with his work. I know it's so different in Canada. Like Canada, I know it's like Sweden, it's just like
Oh, get you to get yes.
yeah. So he was off. Um I had that support there. And then when our son got sick, he had to take a leave of absence from work to take care of Ethan. So like those things. So I didn't do it on my own. It took a village, and to be okay with asking or seeking help. Like um putting my daughter in, making sure she has like daycare, putting her in that. I know a lot of people who, because they are mompreneurs, it's like, well, I don't have to have my kids in, like I can save money here. It's like, well, no, actually, there's so many benefits. You're not saving any money. Actually, you know what? Because you're taking away your time and space to be able to do what you need to do. So leaning on what you can for support, and knowing and accepting that it's okay to ask for help, and it is going to take a village. It's not like you cannot do it all, and if you try to, that is why you're going to burn out.
Asking for help and getting rid of that mom guilt. That episode I did a solo episode when I first launched the podcast is still the number one listened, watched episode because it's so prominent in this mompreneur community. And you know, we got to let that go. And like you say, ask for help. There are parents, there are people, strangers who are looking for, work and want to help that you can hire if you don't have parents or family members to help out. There are people who are, definitely around for you to tap into. So I love that you say that you gotta lean on others in order to
Yeah,
achieve goals. So
yeah.
was
Don't try to do it all yourself. Just like
yes,
don't. Just
yes.
don't.
It ain't. She's like,
No.
you think you saving money? You're not. I love that. Like,
I
let
like
me.
to be honest, I think when I brought in so when I first hired my housekeeper, for example, like
Mhm.
I could only afford to bring her in every like 6 weeks or something. And then that just started, as my income increased, that started becoming more frequent. But like I looked at that as an investment in my business.
Mhm.
Because that's time that I can, and as a mother, that's time that I can spend with my kids, like not
Exactly.
having to do those things. So
I'm right there.
delegating and changing your mindset around some of these things. Like I had a lot of judgment when I did that because they're like, you're a stay-at-home mom who's running a business. Like I'm doing air quotes for those who can't see it because my family had no idea what I was doing when I first started. They thought I was like just on the computer all day. You know what I mean? So
Do you
there's
do
yeah,
a lot? That's what I'm always trying to explain. I'm not explaining nothing. It's just what you're gonna see what I'm doing later. But yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, so definitely take Kayleigh's advice. Um, and mind you, I agree. I co-sign about getting the help. So, well, now we're going to transition to my favorite part of the podcast. That's the lightning round. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Whatever comes to mind first, just spit it out. You don't even have to explain it. We're going to love to just get that raw, real reaction. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. First question. What are 3 words to describe you today?
Ambitious, driven, energetic.
Love it. What would you tell your 18-year-old self today?
Don't worry what other people think of you.
Love it. What does it mean to you to be a modern mompreneur?
To be able to ask for help and not try to do it all.
There you go. What do you love about being a mom?
I love watching my children turn into little people. They're 2 and 4, so almost 2 and 4. So they're at that stage where their personalities are coming out, and to see their personalities and to see themselves develop and I could go on, like their imaginations and all of the things. It's just like it's like magical. It's magical to see these little people that I grew in my belly become little people.
Okay, what do you want your things to think of you as a mompreneur later?
That I never gave up.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, what are you reading, watching, or listening to, depending on what your
Oh
adventure,
God.
which one you choose, reading, watching.
I am reading The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. I'm studying the imagination chapter in Think and Grow Rich. And
Okay,
I am listening to the audio book Happy Pocket Full of Money right now, currently.
happy pocket full of money.
I think that's what it's called.
Okay,
Let me check because I just started it yesterday and I listened to it for like an hour while I was driving around. A Happy Pocket Full of Money. Yes, a Happy Pocket Full of Money.
love it, love it. I always like asking my Conway people because what we read is kind
So
of the
good.
same.
I'm
Same
I,
thing.
I'm reading for pleasure The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill, and I'm
Got it. And then you're
studying the
studying
imagination
different,
chapter.
folks. There is a difference. I learned that early in Conway. Okay. All right. Last question. What is bringing you joy right now? What's lighting you up?
Creating.
Mm,
Creating my own thing is lighting me up right now, and collaborating with other people is lighting me up right now.
that's beautiful. That's
Thank you.
beautiful. Good for you for creating space to do that for yourself. I love it.
Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you for engaging me in the lightning round. My favorite part to learn a little bit more about you. How share with the audience how they can connect with you.
For sure. So, Instagram's a great place. I'm at the Kayleigh Kennedy. That's my handle. So KayleIGH and then Kennedy, KENNEDY. Email hello@kayleighkennedy.com. Those are probably the 2 best ways. But I mean, I check my Instagram messages as much as I check my email, to be perfectly honest. So
Yeah, Z friendly over here. Yes. So I'll put those in the show notes to follow you at the Kayleigh Kennedy and at hello@kayleighkennedy.com to connect you via email. I want to thank you for being a guest on this community and sharing your very unique, triumphant story. And I know there's so much more to come. What great timing for us to talk, right? We booked
well,
this.
we
We
had scheduled this and we had to shift it. So I believe it all happened for a reason.
crazy, right? And I'm like, you literally just made the announcement less than 2 weeks ago, and here you are able to share. I'm so excited. I mean, you could have shared great things too before, but this is like alignment, right? Because everyone who is listening are definitely women and men who need to hear what you have to say, understand what your purpose is, and I encourage you guys to follow Kayleigh on her journey, support her in her philanthropic efforts as well in the cancer community. But more important, see if you are someone who's getting in your own way and learn how she's navigated that and can coach you to live in your limitless potential in life, right? So if you enjoyed this podcast episode, share it with a fellow mompreneur or friend, subscribe to the channel, follow Kayleigh on IG, of course, and feel free to comment what were your favorite moments so we can just feel the love and show her some love as well. So thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Kayleigh, for being a guest.
Thank you so much for having me, Dai. I'm so, so grateful, and I appreciate you. I'm so grateful we've connected.
Yes, I feel the same way, girlfriend. So thank you guys for joining us today. Mompreneurs, as always give yourself permission to live out your full dreams because you never know who you can impact on the other side and what that potential looks like in your life. So thank you guys again for joining us. Until next time, y'all be blessed. Thank you.